to congratulate you all, Vit and the entire team behind the scenes on your 100th episode with your podcast. Well, first of all, for someone who has a little bit of a podcast experience, and I've ran a lot of these, it is quite difficult to gain a lot of momentum and keep it. And you guys have done a phenomenal job with that, especially with agency owners, SaaSpreneurs, entrepreneurs across the world. And the best part about it is a podcast around the HighLevel community. So I've seen a lot of big names that you've brought on as well, Vit. Just want to tell you, congratulations. We're excited for the future of what's to come. As this community grows, I know you're going to be an integral part of it, and the following and the resources and value that you provide with the content. So, I'm excited to kind of just see what the future holds. Again, congratulations. Thanks for allowing me to send you a video on a note like this. I'm humbled that you even asked. So I appreciate you. Hope you guys all have a great session together. Bye for now.
Hey Vit, it's Sean coming at you from HighLevel. I just want to say congratulations on hitting 100 episodes on the podcast. That is amazing, man. So appreciate all that you're doing there. Just wanted to give you a quick shout out. Can't wait to see where the podcast goes. Can't wait to see how everything goes with you. And then also, of course, can't wait to see you in October, hopefully at Level Up as well. So on that note, I hope you're having an amazing day, man. And again, congratulations, and I'll see you later. Bye.
What can I say? I mean, this is...
Well, again, like, if I can just jump in, I think the average podcaster, I was just trying to type this in the comments, average podcaster does less than 10 episodes. That's across, like, all of the podcasting platforms from every person ever. So to get to 100 is, like, your unicorn status, bro. So well done. Very well done.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
That's why we're all here, mate. We're here to celebrate you. Because
I don't want to make it about me, though.
It's about you. That's why we're here. Yeah. We're here to support you. It's so awesome to see it.
I'm never good at acknowledging praise from others for me, so it's something I got to work on. But mate, thank you. Yeah,
we could probably just turn it into a roast, right?
Yeah, I'm all for
now it's okay. Absolutely.
Speaking of roast, it would be nice to go live on the dot, wouldn't it? I've just realized and just went live just now. So I'm sorry, guys, listening live on YouTube, on Facebook. If you're watching, thank you so much. I think we got a couple of people watching. So we missed out some of the earlier intros, so I'll have to publish this later.
We were just hanging on anyway, so that's all good.
Now we're wrapping it up. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, right. Thanks everybody. Hey. It's been fun.
The fastest 100th episode ever.
Yeah, but shout out to you guys as well, because this is an interview style show. It's never been a solo show of me. It's always been unique people that are brought on to share unique perspectives, strategies, business tips, what you guys do with HighLevel and sharing with others. And so that's what makes this show special. It's not all about me, it's about the people behind the scenes that I mentioned, my wife that helps me with post-production, the systems that we've built, but it's about you guys as well who jump on being guests, and all of you guys who are listening as well. So just wanted to say that somebody's breathing really loud. Is that Pasito?
I think it's because he's watching Matt walking, and I think he's enjoying.
Muted when I'm not talking, so there's no chance there.
All right, so I've got one more thing I want to play, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. I've got some announcements to make as well, but we can sort of pepper it in between our chats. But let me just play this. This is a bit of a last looking back. So let me just find this something I prepared earlier. So if you if you've seen your name on that, just wanted to once again say thank you so much, guys, for being a part of it. And here's to next 100, I guess. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
All right, so
great to see, Vic. Really awesome to see, man.
Thank you all. Thank you. I'm going to talk a bit more in a second. I just want to go into a bit of a chat here and you know, get a bit of a discussion going, because this is what the main thing I wanted to be about today. Couple of questions for each of you that you can answer and see where we go with this. I'll start with you, Matt. First of all, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. It means a lot to me. It helps with some of the costs and whatever. You know, you've helped thousands of agencies simplify HighLevel and scale their support. And I was just curious to know, like, what is the clearest difference between an agency that is already like ready to scale and one that is about to create a much bigger mess?
I think the biggest mess that I see is not chaos from action. It's actually paralysis and inaction, because I have not seen a business anywhere that is like scaling without like blunder. That is actually the consequence of business going well. So if you have a good product, you do it well, what happens? You have some happy customers and they tell other people, and you basically grow beyond your capacity to fulfill it as well as you did initially. So it breaking down is a signal you did it right. It's impossible to not have that experience unless, you know, there's like not to say bad examples, but it feels like bad examples of businesses that are so overwhelmed by funding with like VC that they somehow, it's like, from day one, they're underwater and their product is like better than their finances are. For most businesses, good businesses, bootstrap businesses, the blunder, the mess is a signal of it being good. So then to your question, I was like, what's the actual error there? The error is someone obsesses over it being perfect, that it never gets traction, that they're pre-solving problems they haven't graduated into. And so that's my answer to the question is I'd say the worst thing is paralysis, pursuing perfection, not realizing that broken systems are your trophy for having the potential for a big, impactful, great business. Is like, you have, like I said, that cycle is a feature, not a bug of business.
There's a range, isn't it? And it's like you have like people who are like me, like I'm Jared, he knows that, you know, I'm very much of a perfectionist, and I'm that example. Like, I kind of have to get my ducks in a row. It's maybe the obsessive OCD even, you know. And then on the other hand, somebody who just, you know, like embrace chaos, go after it, start selling, or figure out the rest. I can sometimes put myself in that position as well, but I tend to default more towards the perfectionism. And I wonder, and it's in the conversation I always have in my head, like, you know, like, bloody hell, like, you know, this is stupid, you know. What's the solution to that? Because I bet you there is a lot of other people, and it's easy to say like as a strategy, but there is the, you know, innate like a personality thing that it's harder to work with. How do we overcome that?
How far down the woo do we go with the answer? Because there's a woo answer. What you're speaking to is ego and fear. And the problem is ego and fear grows the longer you do this, because you've got more to lose. And so if we kind of get to that point, how do you escape from ego and fear? Well, you got to do the opposite of that, right? So you got to make sure that you're practicing your gratuity, your appreciation. You got to make sure that you've got an attitude of gratitude, because that's what helps you get through the day to day. And all of us as business owners, a lot of people come into it as a sprint, right? And a launch is a sprint. You know, it's chaos, right? It's that launch energy, get something off the ground. But maintenance, you know, and I think the majority of the people in the room have been in business for 10, 15, 20 years. You don't do that by sprinting. That's not chaos. You know, that comes to a place of accepting what you have to do, you know, and loving the game. And the more you love the game, the easier the game is to keep playing, you know? So you have to find that sweet spot. And I think this is the key, really, because there's so many different ways that you can run a business, right? There's a mix here, right? Some with SaaS, some agencies, some providing service into the high-level community. They're all different ways to win. And it's just finding the one way. You know, what Matt's speaking to, right, is failing forward. You know, you've got to get it wrong 999 times to just find the one way. And then when you find it, just hold on to it for dear life and run it as hard as you can for as long as you can until you find the next thing. And knowing that it's absolutely fine to enjoy what you do. Because I think a lot of people think business is supposed to be painful. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be a grind. And you can really find a fun, passionate way to do this. And I think the best entrepreneurs are the ones who find that balance, you know, finding something that they're passionate with, finding something they're very good at. And I think that's the sweet spot for people to strive to.
And Danny, thank you for following up on that. You know, I remember when we had the interview. I know the millionaire flywheel is about achieving more by doing less. What do you think is the hardest activity for entrepreneurs to stop doing themselves, even though letting it go could unlock their next level of growth?
All of it. The biggest problem that people have is that they're people, and human beings do human being things, which is they go, well, if I just work harder, I'll solve the problem. And it makes sense, right? Because we've been taught for hundreds of years, like the harder you work, the luckier you get, the harder you work, the more you'll earn, and all these sort of things. And there's definitely some truth to that. So I'm not trying to say that is not true. There is some truth to that. But it only takes you so far. You know, one of the things that we teach our clients, we're super keen on, is a 4-hour workday. And that's not because I'm trying to give people some aspirational, you know, wankerpreneur work-life balance bullshit. It's because if you can only work 4 hours a day, at the end of that 4-hour work block, all of the things that you haven't done that you should be done will still be on your to-do list. And when that happens 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days in a row, a pattern appears. And the pattern is, here's all the stuff that you're not doing. I bet this is where your business will grow if you solve this problem. Let's get creative and let's figure it out. So the reality is it's all of it, you know, and your responsibility as a business owner is to figure out that stuff as quickly as possible. Like success loves speed. So you have to solve problems very, very, very quickly. And how do you solve problems? You try one of two ways, because there's always two ways that you can do something. It's this way or it's this way. You never know which way is going to be right. But if you just do one of them, that helps you to figure out if you're doing it the right way or you're doing it the wrong way. If you're doing it the wrong way, pivot real quick. Speed. If you're doing it the right way, double down real quick. Success loves speed. Figure things out fast.
I love Danny's metaphor, and I'll just add this onto that because I've seen this to be true. Is I think there's something, maybe any sort of creative activity, but business is definitely a creative activity. There's something uniquely divine, and I've heard it described this way as like the idea of this divine spoke and then it was. Shortening the distance between I have an idea and I took action on it is a maturing business skill. And like wrong idea, right idea, the less time it takes you to go from I think and now it is. One, I think it taps into something divine, but also I think that's a muscle you can work to get more comfortable with the uncomfortable of like just taking that, like whether it's taking off your plate or trying a different approach to it. And so, yeah. And I just wanted the double stamp, the fear and ego, Danny, just absolutely beautiful. Practicing the antithesis of that is such a powerful thing in business and I think in life.
If I can add something to that as well, it was one thing I took from a mastermind that I went on about a year ago or so, actually. And there's a guy talking about that, and everybody's got goals for their business and things that they want to do or get, and they have like a vision of that. And the one thing this guy said on this mastermind I was on, he said, but think about what's the thing that you're willing to give up to get what you want. And it doesn't have to be necessarily like a bad thing, you know, like Danny was talking about there, like the 4-hour work day. And there might be a bunch of things at the end of that day that you haven't done. And they're things that maybe you like doing, or, you know, you feel like no one can do them better than you. But to grow, you've got to give those things up. or you might have to change your circle of influence. So you might have to lose some friends that are holding you back. So I always think about those things as well. As we're growing, like things are changing all the time, and like I'm dropping things off. So, well, to get here now, I'm going to have to give this up. I'm going to have to give control of this over, or I'm going to have to sacrifice a bit of time here, or I'm going to have to put some money in over here, or whatever it might be. So thinking about what you have to give up to get what you want, and then realizing that it's actually a privilege to give up some of these things. Like we grind away as entrepreneurs sometimes anyway. I know Danny's like the 4 hour the day, but sometimes the reality is that, you know, you have to put in an extra day, an extra few hours at night or whatever it might be, and actually realize that again is like a privilege for you to be able to do that, because it's like, okay, well, I'm giving this up because that's going to get me to the next stage. So all of that with the attitude of gratitude, again, I think is a really powerful thing if you can always remember that in your mind and just take that on board and go, okay, this is great because I'm getting to do these things, and these things are falling by the wayside, because something's going to have to give. You have to give up something to get to the next stages.
I see there's a meme going around on Instagram at the moment, and I might be butchering the wording here, but it's words to the effect of being a smart business owner is realizing how stupid you was in business 6 months ago. And that's the key. It's forever growing. It's forever learning, forever improving.
Can I triple stamp the double stamp real quick? Because in the chat, Jared and Michael are doubling down on how deep can we go on this. So for those of us that are parents, right, we observe this with kids. And I don't think you have to be a parent to do it, but if you're a parent, you're kind of forced to. But we observe our kids having this combination of like fearlessness and natural curiosity, this like beautiful blend of like, hey, I don't know what this thing is, but even if I'm afraid of it a little bit at first, I'm still going to go for it anyway. And then they're curious about why things work and how they can, you know, get over that and figure things out, right? And so what happens is, to Denny's point, as we get older, we have more to lose, so we tend to constrict a lot more, right, for reasons of safety, which is like a human natural thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think what happens with most people, we've been trained so much, right, to become like one lane thinkers from a very early age. And I think that has mostly to do with school, sometimes with our parents, sometimes our environment. But I think mostly school teaches you to be like, there's one path and you only have one door. Really, that's kind of what school teaches you, right? And then we become adults and we're like, well, I've worked really hard. I worked so hard to get here and I can't abandon what has worked for me before. But if you look at kids, they abandon stuff without any thought whatsoever. It's astonishing. Like, you know, it's unbelievable what my kids will drop for something that's more efficient or better or more positive at the drop of a hat. And they don't think, you know, twice about it. It's incredible, right? So how does that translate to entrepreneurism? It's like, well, you don't need to be reckless, right? That's not the message. Is don't go blow things up just to do that. For me, I think there's a layer of proficiency. It's the underlying thing that we all kind of forget. But hopefully, as you're failing forward, and to Matt's point, as you make decisions, does it work or not? That doesn't matter because you learn from it. But even if you make a decision that was quote unquote wrong, hopefully you learn from it and that builds further proficiency. So the thing in business is, as long as you're failing forward, meaning you're building proficiency as you go, you have this sort of cheat code that most won't step through that door because of fear or curiosity, but it's usually fear, I would say, right? So then you get to this point to where you're like, what are all these other adults doing that I'm seeing more success in? Like, most people either loathe or love Elon Musk, for example, right? And if you look at the people that love Elon Musk, most of them have walked through an unknown door of some sort. Most of them have some sort of entrepreneurial sort of thing. And most people who do not like him for whatever reason, it could be political or anything, right? They have not chosen to go on some uncharted path. You know, if you want to get hella deep with it, that's what I observe, right? And it always brings me back to this. There's an author named Virginia Satir. There's this quote that I love, and I always think about this now. One of my mentors introduced it to me. And by the way, guys, if you see a common theme here, we all have mentors. So get yourself a mentor. I don't care who it is. Get someone who can help you shorten the path. That's like a key thing, right? But my mentor like took this so deep. I was like, my mind was blown. There's this quote by Virginia Satir. It goes something like this. It's most people prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty. And I think about that. I'm like, my kids do not value certainty. They just freaking don't. Like, I mean, beyond the basics, right? Do they have a safe house? Like, all the basics are covered. Okay, good. I'm a decent dad, hopefully a great dad. But beyond that, it's like they're on uncertainty central. You know, that they're just running 24/7 on like, how much can I absorb from this world and what can I learn, etc. Right? And so I think most people who have not unlocked that next level in their business or their journey, it has to be something internal. Danny's super right. But it's this thing where you're like, I value, the certainty of misery that I have. So working 60 plus weeks, even if you started your own business, you're like, I bought myself a new job. A lot of people out there are like that, right? And I'm working harder than ever and earning less than I would if I was at my old job, right? But I'm so afraid to go through the door because on the other side is relative uncertainty. Well, guess what? Nothing bad has happened to any of us. Like we're still here, right? It might have taken a little longer. Some of us have had a faster path than others, but I think everybody on this podcast is glad we're here now, right? And I don't even remember most of the bad times getting started. I remember certain things, but it's like, if you're going to have misery anyways, you may as well have the power of choice to create your own destiny and your own, like, you can craft this how you want. And so, like, to me, that goes hella deep, just for me. I'm not saying that you guys have to go that deep with it, but for me, I'm like, that's like 99% of the reason. It's like, the money's great, but that just provides me with more flexibility, options, etc. So,
you handsome, majestic bastard, Rob Bates. I mean, what a legend. Just dropped in like, just bombs on us, making us all look bad.
Makes such a good point. Rob makes such a good point, though, about the people and their confidence and stuff. And bringing this back around to like what Vit was saying earlier about like what makes a successful agency, right? We're talking about HighLevel here. One of the things that drives me crazy, right? If we talk about HighLevel, amazing tool. They're developing, rolling out features faster than anything, right? And they have their famous skateboard model, and sometimes the wheels fall off of that a little bit and some things go a little bit wrong. And there are people out there who will bash it, right? And they'll just complain about HighLevel, right? Those people drive me insane. And the people that do succeed are the people that understand the doors that people have to go through. Like, to Rob's point, the people that, like Elon Musk, generally understand that the difficulty of the things that he's achieving, right? So they will look at those problems that people are trying to go through and go, all right, well, how do I work with this, around this, whatever it is. The people that are not succeeding are the ones that are looking and then just kind of complaining or bitching or whining and moaning. Those people drive me crazy. There's one particular person, I called them out the other day because they were complaining about something, and I put in their comments about like where they're complaining. I said, sorry, can you just remind me, what was the name of the $1 billion company that you built with 1,500 employees? And of course they haven't done it, right? They're a one-man band and they're just complaining about a feature that doesn't work exactly how they want it. Those people, they're not going to succeed because they're just focused on the negativity and just want to bring other things down. And then they complain about something that there is no way on earth that they properly understand, that they could possibly do better. And also just look at it from the point of view that, some people are trying to do the very best they can, but sometimes they get it wrong anyway, right? We all make mistakes. So having a forgiveness for those things as well is a really important part of being able to move forward. Just going, okay, well, look, that doesn't work, or that went wrong, or whatever it might be. You got to move past all of those things. And the people that sit in that dwelling and just like want to complain about it and bitch and moan and whine, and they don't even really understand the effort and the endurance that it takes to build a company the size and scope of HighLevel. Like, I can't even imagine the the size and scope of what they do. Like we're a tiny little company, and I have enough problems every day to try and resolve and go through. You know? So having that.
Well, first
really
off, Gary, that conversation that we had, I thought that was private. With that, when I was complaining to you about that.
But I think, always got to get you, mate.
Yeah, I think one thing though too is when we talk about problems is really trying to figure out how to not take things personally, because Bit, you asked earlier about stupidity. You know, how do we reduce the stupidity? And I think the truth is that we have to learn to accept that this is just really stupid what we're doing. It's crazy. We're all sitting here, we're running businesses. This is not what the fires and food that we used to scavenge and hunt for. This is a really weird system. The internet is stupid. It's full of all kinds of craziness. Running a business is stupid. Trying to hire and wrangle the sheep of your team. And when you start realizing that stupid is never going away, whether you're a little guy like me or you're Matt there, I guarantee you that Matt's going to tell you that there's a lot of stupid things happening even at the top there. But when you recognize that, you can then start saying, hey, so these problems exist, the stupid stuff happens, but we have to accept them and we can deal with them. And I think a lot of times the act fast, fail fast crowd can get a bad rap because they're failing fast, but without any direction, without any clarity. And they can sometimes fail fast with fear because they just don't want to have to think about anything. But when you're acting fast on things, knowing that it could be wrong, when you're doing it out of, as Rob was saying, from a choice, that's when things get interesting. When you're saying, hey, I'm deciding to tackle these problems head on. I've named the problems. And I can accept whether I can deal with them and do something about them, or just realize I can't and move on. So that's my little alternative take there, is that, yeah, we can't reduce the stupidity in our lives because it's stupid.
Far out. This is, we're getting real enlightened here. Did you guys take like the red pill or something?
Yeah. But look at the people on this call though, Vit. Like, I mean, there's just pure legends on this call. And Matt, I've said to you before, every time you speak, I'm like humbled and awed. There was one of our incredible creators in the high level space, Paige Batcher, who's just gone on to incredible success. She said something at one point, which I think like everything we're talking about, Pachito and everybody, like you guys are nailing it. She talked about the fact that we sometimes get to a point where we tell ourselves a story, and we tell ourselves a story about a particular position that we find ourselves in. And the way that Paige delivered this, Paige, if you're watching, I hope I do this justice, but she said, it's about asking yourself, is that the right story for me? And as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I've valued more than anything else is the ability to choose your own adventure. You know, those books where you used to be able to say, if you think this, go to page 18. If you think that, go to page 27. And like you get to choose your own adventure. And I think what we're talking about here, Matt, you know, to your point, if you speak it, it comes into being, the divine purpose there. And like, you know, the freedom of choice, being able to land on that uncertainty, Rob, as you're saying as well. Like, there's something uniquely special about the entrepreneur who says, I choose my own adventure, for better, for worse. And I think one of the things, like, if I can, I'll throw this back over to you, Vit, because I know it's your show. But if I could give anybody that's listening just one thing, it would be latch on to the people, because you can feel like you're in a silo. And just to hear somebody like Matt DeSanto speak, to hear Rob Bailey speak, to hear yourself, Vit, to be amongst and around people that are expanding your ability to think, allows us to feel like what we're doing is okay. And again, that story that Paige is saying, tell yourself a different story. I find myself here because the world has fallen on top of me. Hang on a second. Find a reason that you've won. Find a reason that brings you to this point to say, today's the first day that I can move up and I can move forward and I can keep going. Like, change the story, change the reason that you can change that next chapter and that next beginning. And this group, and again, if you're watching this, you're listening to this, I'm already preaching to the choir, because you're investing your time in expansion-based opportunities. My only ask would be, bring more people to that kind of environment. Get into live events, get into more opportunities to feed your mind. and bring people with you because they need it. But again, I think as an entrepreneur, we have that choose your own adventure style about us. It's like, I think I might go here. And the great news is, as somebody who's been up, down at the bottom of the valley, looking up and screaming, all the way to the top of the mountain, admiring the view, like, I have to say, there's nothing that kills you. It's just, if you can connect with people, if you can reach out instead of going in, you'll find yourself in a place that is just full of joy. So, yeah.
There's something amazing that happens when you get yourself outside of the comfort zone. You know how they say, like, your human brain, we can only tap into like actual certain percentage, and there's so much more untapped. I personally found that numerous times in my life where I've put myself in a position that was not comfortable, and you have doubts. Before you get the example being back in Sydney, I was on student visa. 2 years in, finished my qualification as a personal trainer. It was an international college, and they had a shortage. They needed more practical and theory teachers. A mate of mine who was teaching at the school was like, we had a meeting about this, and your name came up. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm a student. Yeah, but you've been working for yourself for a year, and we thought, you could do it. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to put myself in front of 20, 30 people and teach them something. Never been a fan of that since I was in the school. It just feels, not in my skin. But he believed in me. He gave me a bit of a pep talk, I guess. And then I thought about it and like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is I'll get in front of those students, which were, by the way, international students. They were 40-year-old people, Brazil. That was a mix of people, like people with degrees, and like, it's like unreal. I can't talk to this. I can't teach these people. What do I know? Anyway, I thought about it, and like, what's the worst case that can happen? Well, the worst case that can happen, I'll phrase, and it'll be an embarrassment, but nobody dies. And what's the upside? Well, maybe on the upside, maybe something magical will happen, which it did, which what I found. And to my surprise, they didn't put me to teach practical. Like, I thought, it's going to be easy. I'm just going to show people how to like spot somebody, bench press, whatever. No, it's like, okay, well, here's your course notes, and you've got this classroom, and it's a 4-hour thing. So 4 hours straight delivering a topic of, I'm like, what the hell? And I put myself into that spot. Went my first day, went to the classroom, went off the notes. The theory was like, I knew the theory stuff, but it was about the engagement. Like, how do you get these people engaged so that they listen? They don't, that they have a respect to listen and they value it. Because if they, it's like all these things happening in your head. It's like, I'm going to be a laughing stock, and it didn't happen. It was the beginning. So yeah, I felt like shy or whatever, but because I was there in front of him, I had to come up with something. And what I didn't expect, my brain started to like rev up, and I suddenly started talking, and like I did it. But it's basically, long story short, it's there is magic in you guys, and it's behind walls as well.
If I can add this, I think that every person here and maybe every successful person ever has had someone who, like, once you're in a room with better people, let's call it, right? The things that you're focused on, they don't see, right? They see the best part of you and the potential that you could achieve if you just had the opportunity. And I know it's giving me chills talking about this. For me, it was Billy Jean, right? If you guys know, Billy Jean is marketing. He said, Rob, you're better at this than 99.9% of the people I've ever seen. Like, there's absolutely no reason you should be struggling with this. And he literally like elevated me, and I got the same vibes. Like, my brain started firing differently. My confidence grew, like my ego dropped. He told me to go faster, not slower, right? And for some reason, I needed permission from somebody else to do that. I think most people are wired that way, especially if you don't come from an environment where that's common, which was me, right? Which is probably most of us. But I guarantee you, that's why people pay for masterminds and go to events and do all the things where they're trying to get in touch with people who see things differently in the betterment of others, right? Because I guarantee you that that room of people said, hey, does Vit add to this or take away? And why? That's probably a question that they ask themselves. And they recognize that in you. They gave you the opportunity. You took it. And that's a new door, right? So like, I think it's important for everybody, again, like find that room, find that person for you who sees that in you, because it can literally be like a catalyst. It's just like a minor shift. And then all these good things start coming your way and you're like, I don't know why. And it's like, then you figure out why, right? Like I venture to guess that, you tell me if I'm wrong, but at the time you didn't understand what was happening. It was only later that you recognized all that goodness was extracted from you because of that room, that opportunity. It was still within you. You were still born with it. It was still God-given, let's call it, like whatever you believe in, right? And so like, that's a really important thing. It's like, if you guys are trying to level up, you know, I hate to bring out the obvious term, but it's like, that's just how it works. Like we're all trying to access something better for ourselves, our families, and for the good of others. So like I've never ever once observed anybody doing it the opposite way, where they're like, for example, a lot of the people that I grew up in my neighborhood, I love them, but I'm not jamming with them on business, man. I'm just like, you know, it's a crab in a bucket kind of thing, right? It's just a different type of person, and those people don't want the same things that I want out of life, etc. So like, go find your people or your person. And that can be, and very often is, like, it doesn't mean that like you'll hit it on the first try either. You might have to find it. Like when we go to events, I talk to almost all these guys, right? Like I sat at dinner with Danny and his lovely wife, and we had a great conversation. I jam with Matt probably the most out of everyone. Gary maybe second. When I was going through going through some personal stuff, Walt texted me out of nowhere. I was like, dude, just come to my house. Like my friends at home didn't do any of that stuff. Like, you know, and so it's like, you know, when you're going through this path, like it does not mean you have to do it alone. In fact, it almost never happens where you do it alone. You know, that's a very powerful story, Vet, because I think we might not even be here if you hadn't had that particular opportunity at university. It's very powerful.
It's really, it's fascinating as well, Rob, like that, your comment there, just to wrap that up as well, your comment there about the experience after, right? It's like, Vit, you didn't even realize that was there. Like at the time it felt stressful. It felt impossible. It felt like, you know, whatever, it felt all that. But Rob, you just nailed it. Like everything that you have as a lesson after you went through that, everything was already inside you. Like you already had that. And I think like you had Billie Jean give you permission to succeed, right? And I think for the people on this call, like I know you all well, you guys are amazing. I feel like the people that are watching and that are listening, like we collectively can give them permission to succeed, right? You guys have already got all of that. You've got that inside you. If you haven't got the platinum SaaSpreneur like Danny Clark has up on the wall, it doesn't mean that you can't. To that story, you already have that in you, right? You already have that in you. And it's just sometimes there's a tree down here in Australia, and Australia gets devastated by bushfires regularly. And I know that that's all over the news in Europe, and you know, hopefully, you know, people are okay with that. But there's a tree down here that doesn't bloom until a fire goes through. It actually needs the heat of the fire to crack the seed that then creates the new tree. It's like devastation is the only way that new life appears. My point there is sometimes, like, and for everybody that's listening and watching, and for everybody that I hope in the future, that story, what you have, what you need to succeed is already in you. Sometimes you just need the heat to expose it and to be able to go. And like everybody on this call, we just love you guys so much. We collectively give you permission to succeed. You have it. We want to see it. We want to see you guys just bloom and grow.
Well, if I could jump in here, I'm just sitting back in awe of everybody on the call. Like, it's such an honor to be in a room with all of you legends, and I forgot I was even here. I'm just listening to all of this incredible insights from everybody. Yeah, with the permission thing, you know, I've had so many thoughts from everybody what you're saying, but I remember when I first kind of got into the digital marketing space, and I was at my first event, and I'm sitting there brand new, right? I've never done digital marketing in my life, and they were bringing up some success stories from their program, and they're talking about their journeys, and they're talking about what level they're at, and there's guys there doing 10K a month, 25K a month, and I'm sitting in the audience thinking, man, if I could just get to 10K a month, wouldn't that be life changing? That was back in 2018. And that being at that event, being around these successful people, as you've all been saying, being in the rooms with people who have those mindsets that you're not surrounded with on a daily basis is life changing. I can almost guarantee you if I was not in that room, I would not be where I am today. It was that eye-opening experience of seeing these people who came from regular everyday jobs, from corporate America, from all kinds of places, having this level of success. And I was sitting there thinking, I can do that too. And so that was in 2018. I can't remember exactly when. I think it was around February, March 2018. A year later, I quit my job and I haven't looked back. And a lot of that has to do with just not giving up. But again, if I wasn't in that room and I didn't see the possibilities of what I could be capable of, and I didn't have that belief in myself and get that permission from others, I probably wouldn't be here. But I did, and I quit my job in 2019, and I haven't looked back. And it's not been easy. It's challenging, and it's not for everybody, but I cannot imagine ever going back. So for everybody listening, you can do it. If this is something you want to do, you absolutely can. But get around people, invest in community, get around the right minds, come to Level Up in Dallas. It's being around people with the same mindset. I remember last year I left so invigorated from Level Up as you do going to events, but staying in it is what's really difficult. So just getting around some kind of community, finding a mentor, finding people you can surround yourself who have that same mindset, it will change your life.
100%.
Can I just add to that, Joel, as well? Like, for people that are listening to this and then go, oh yeah, but it's all right for you, or it's all right for, you know, Danny and Rob and Matt, and, you know, you're all confident you can go out and talk to people. Like, I do podcasts, live events, talk on stage. Like, I'm actually like an introvert, right? I do all these things, but I'm actually an introvert, right?
Same.
I'm very much in my head all the time, right? For me, like, I'm not nervous. Being an introvert doesn't mean I'm actually nervous to go and talk to people. Like, I don't have that, but it's actually, I find it actually really hard work to go and talk to people. And I don't mean like I don't enjoy it, like I actually do, but I have to really work at it, and I get really tired from it. Okay, and it's not enjoyable. Like, I love all you guys on here. Like, we all catch up, we have a great time. But at the end of the day, like, I'm exhausted. Like, it's not something that energizes me. It drains energy out of me. That's what being an introvert means for me. So for any people that are kind of listening, going, oh yeah, but I find that such hard work. It's like, I do. I actually find it really hard work. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but that's one of the things that I recognize that I have to do. I have to go out and do these things. I can't sit behind my laptop all day just directing things to my team or trying to do this and expect to grow where I want to get to. I have to put myself out of my comfort zone. And doing all these live events, it's out of my comfort zone. Like, if I'm in a circle of like 10 people and they're all talking, like, I find it very hard sometimes to speak up. Like, I have to really work hard to kind of listen, focus on the conversation, what's going on here. I'm not one of those natural, I'm gonna lead the conversation people, right? There are people that do that and do it really, really well. And that's the, you know, they're extroverts and they're brilliant at that. They're great salespeople.
I think
I
they're
have to work
Americans
really
as
hard.
well, Gary.
So this is awesome, guys. You know, I mean, yes, Matt asked me, I'm asking in the chat, like, do I have questions? I do have questions, but I guess let's bring it back to the podcast a bit. The interviewing of people. It's an interesting thing. I always wonder if if I'm doing a good job or not. But I'm trying to be observant, and I and this is my second podcast. I've had another podcast before called Success Inspired, and you can prep. I guess this is a good segue to what I was going to talk about, like the behind the scenes, how this works, right? You have somebody that's coming on. I've got AI, I've got researching and all that, and you can prep, and it's important to prep. And on the back of the prep, you then come up with good intros and questions to ask. But over the time of podcasting, like I'm trying not to hinge on too much on those questions, because then you tend to focus too much on like the agenda, like this is the next thing I was meaning to ask, and then you're not present. And I'd rather be present and continue the flow that we're having, and then when the right time comes, I'll find a segue. But there's no rules. I think the only rule is as long as we're genuine and provide value, and I think so far it's been magical. So speaking of learnings, I wanted to bring you on stage, Walt, because I got a question for you, mate.
For me, I'm looking at Michael Remo going, man, I just want to hear Michael and his magic coming through. But yeah, fire away, brother.
This will work because I know you got to go. So do you remember the last interview, you, Johan, and I said, and this is a segue to like what we talked before about knowing when to pivot. And I said, you got to know when to kill the puppy. So I was going to ask you, like you having built, exited, consolidated, and pivoted multiple software businesses, how do you distinguish between an idea that needs more persistence and one that you need to have the courage to walk away from?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you've got incredible people on the call that have got a lot of experience like that as well. And so we all hear the story of the 6 feet from gold story, right? We dug and we dug and we dug, or the acres of diamonds kind of analogy, where the riches, everything that you were looking for was right at your feet if you just kept going for 2 more steps. Again, we hear that and we feel that, and there's a real thing with entrepreneurs and business owners, and I'll be an advocate for the rest of my life, which is mental health, which is just running that gauntlet so hard that you end up with nothing left in the tank. Like you get to the point where you can't dig anymore. If you're in the gold mine, you're out, you're done. So when do you pivot? When do you actually go, hang on a second, this is not going to be the right thing to do? I'm going to refer, like Joel, you've got a book in your background there, which is Atomic Habits. I'm going to refer to a story from Atomic Habits, which I thought was really great, where the guy was like, I just want to be a rock star. I'm going to be the best bass guitarist that the world's ever seen. I'm going to have my thing. And he had the goal of what he wanted to do. And then he looked at, to get there, what I need to do is 5 years worth of pub gigs. I need to haul my gear in the van I need to work for peanuts and busk on the street. I need to be like doing all of these minor little things that kind of earn my way to the journey. Yeah, you know what? I don't really want it that bad. And he pivoted in the story. He pivoted. And I think to answer your question, Vet, the question's always got to be, how much have you got and how much are you willing to trade for the result? And if you're looking at the result and you go, oh, you know what? That's just not me anymore. Like it might be a desire thing. It might be, I choose not to, or it might be an energy thing. I haven't got it in me. So I think it's a question that we all face as business owners. It's like, is this worth the struggle? And again, the win, the finish line is different for everybody. When I look at business journey, I said to somebody the other day, I feel like I won the mission of fatherhood. I was able to, for 20 years, be an entrepreneur, be self-employed, and pick my kids up from school every day, help them with homework every day until they got smarter than me. And then it was just about getting them a cup of tea or whatever. But I won the game of fatherhood. Now I'm actually blessed and lucky enough to be employed by HighLevel. I'm back as an employee. But my journey, my pivot happened because I chose the end result. And I said, I'm willing to do the work for that path. Right. And so when you make that choice, if you're in a tough spot, you got to ask yourself, what's it going to take me to get out of it? And am I willing to do the work? If not, pivot. If you're in a good spot and an opportunity comes along the line, like Johan and myself, we had an opportunity for an exit, then again, it's about understanding what's the end result of this path. If I'm looking further in front and I can say, this is my chance to change direction and I'm happy with the change, then I'll take it. Or I know this is a chance that's come across my path, but I really want to push this further. Great. Like, it's about understanding what's further down the line and making the choice today about the work you have to do to move yourself down that path.
I love it.
I think we're in the luckiest of times of ever, especially for those of us who are entrepreneurs and have a bit of the old ADHD or a bit of the, juggling lots of things at the same time in us. I have for 15 years taught people, do one thing, right? One offer, one funnel, one audience, one social media platform. And I've always believed wholeheartedly that was the right advice. And I think these days, you don't maybe have to be, right? With automations and AI, I think actually you can probably have a little bit of flexibility. You're maybe not going to be able to achieve the same as someone focused on one thing, but some people perhaps perform better that way. The one thing that I think this conversation has clearly shown is that human beings are complicated, but business is simple. We're the things that make business complicated, right? Because we add in all of our emotions and feelings and all this other crazy stuff. So I'm asking for my own benefit here because I'm in a room with a bunch of smart people. I want to get your insights. And I would love to know what people think is the simplicity of business. For me, I'll kind of kick things off. So, what is business in my eyes? You have people with a problem, pain point, or they have a goal aspiration. You have a product service that helps them get from A to B. You then sell them to it at a reasonable price point that they're happy to pay, and they tell other people about it. That, to me, is how simple business can be. I would love to know what people think business is, how simple it should be, and kind of starting to share some of those really wicked insights that I know that you guys have got.
I'll jump in. I'll jump in for a second. Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah. Hi, Michael.
I had to move. I had bad internet, so I'm on vacation. So
nice. That is so not normal. Every time I have Michael on a call, he's on a cruise ship somewhere. He's like traveling the world. I love your style, man.
It's lobster season. I'm in the Keys, so. But anyway, there's going to be struggles. It's not going to be easy because if it was easy, every single person in the planet would do it, right? So you're dealing with a pretty narrowed audience as far as who is going to be on this call and who is going to take this journey. But I also, I've been speaking with a lot of people over the last year and a half, 2 years, and just did a few events in the Philippines. And you got to also realize there's people on this call that they're going to have a position on this team. Meaning maybe they don't want to be the owner. Maybe they want to be an operations manager. Maybe they want to be a developer. Maybe they want to be a designer. They could do whatever they like, and maybe that's going to be fulfilling for them. The other thing is, where we are right now in life. I mean, I had 2 7-figure businesses and I was dealing with 300 full-time employees at brick and mortar. That is a complete nightmare. I would never want to go back to that. We are so blessed to be on this call and be able to have flexibility and do what you love to do and work as much or as little as you want at the end of the day. And like you said, like Walt mentioned it, the work-life balance is huge. I mean, that's the reason I got out of my first business because, it was affecting my family life. I would have been divorced. I was on the road 300 days a year, became a pilot to fly home on the weekend, in my own plane. So the bottom line is money is really, in most cases, a short-term motivator and a poor motivator. So I think, if you have goals and maybe they're business related, that you want to help people, you want to solve problems. I mean, that's really the mission here, because if you're making $1 million a year, you're going to want $2 million a year. If you're making $2 million a year, you're going to want $4 million a year. It doesn't end. So at the end of the day, do it for the right reason. There's a position for everyone. I wish I was a high level I wish I can design a high-level dating app where I can take the developers and the salespeople and put them together, because there's so many people out there just so nervous, and they're afraid to hear the word no, and I mean, just got to get out and talk to people. I meet so many people because obviously I'm into the AI side, and I've been doing AI for, I don't know, 4 years full time. They think they're going to sit behind a computer and land clients with never talking to them. It's going to be very difficult. You still have to engage and have real conversations and real relationships to succeed in this business, because that's just how it is. I've been blessed. I could talk to people because we didn't have AI when I started my business. We didn't, you had to go out and meet people and talk to them. And like everyone on this call said, some of that would be at conferences. It could be, you just never know where you're going to meet your first client. Just never just be so rigid that it's going to be on a Zoom call, you're going to have a formal appointment. That could be so far from the truth. And then once you get one, you're going to get five, and then you're going to get five, you get 10. And at the end of the day, like Rob Bailey said, you scale it to the moon, really, and enjoy it, because this is a whole different ballgame than having a brick and mortar. I never trade this in a million years for a brick and mortar. I'll tell you, it's a whole different ballgame as far as problems and issues. This is amazing, the time that we're in. We're in a technology boom. It's crazy. So if you're into tech, I mean, this is the time to be alive for sure. I'm blessed. So I just want to say thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I learned from each and every one of you. And I know a lot of you guys have said, hey, go to these conferences and meet people. I look at it totally different. You go to one conference and you learn one thing in 8 hours, it's worth the price of admission. So, I mean, you just got to learn all the time. It's never going to be, oh, learning's over. That's not happening. So I really appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. Michael, hey, Michael, while you're here, I've got a question for you as well. I've got a question for each one of you. I've got one question per each one of you. And since you touched on the AI, plenty of people can now build a pretty impressive voice AI demonstration. I was wondering, like what separates a clever demo from a dependable AI system that real businesses can trust with its customers?
Well, I mean, Vid, honestly, I'm going to steer that a little bit different. If you're looking at building a demo, I mean, I think maybe you're shortchanging yourself. I think you hit the nail on the head, but you didn't really say it. I think you have to be really a systems designer at this point. There's no really, I don't think you're going to be successful just being an AI user. You know what I mean? So I think you're going to be successful, looking at a problem and designing a system around it to accomplish fixing that problem, enhancing it, capitalizing on it, whatever that may be. So I think the future is going to be on designing systems and designing them, securely, effective, everything that goes along with it, rather than just say, oh, listen, I'm going to be a voice AI guy, because, those times are over. I think it's moving too fast. And I think that, your biggest opportunity is going to be developing complete systems and managing those systems. So that's just my feeling what's going to happen in the next 3 years, perhaps. What's already happening now, but more so.
This is a good segue. Michael, you wanted to talk about this question. I think it's a good follow-up. As AI makes the technical work easier, where will agencies still be able to create real value that cannot be easily automated? And I think part of the answer is to what Michael just said, right? Just becoming engineers and looking at it more holistically, looking at a business more holistically, because there is more than just generating leads or helping businesses make a sale. But let's dive into that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
100%. Systems is going to be a part of it. I think what's really happening too right now, and you've probably heard people talk about that, we go from prompt engineering to context engineering. You always hear all these other terms being thrown out. Really what it is can you define where value is actually created? And can you define exactly what you need being done? A lot of times we think about a business that's disorganized, that doesn't have systems or processes. The reason for that is that you don't have a system of a process. The people are your process. You hire somebody, you put them in position, and they just figure it out, right? They go through the problems, they just deal with it day to day, and the process is just relying on people to just make stuff happen. With AI, the reason that's that's really kind of overturning things is that the AI out of the box does a lot of really cool things on its own. It's like why AI content sucks, because I don't need your AI. I have an AI already that could put out random things. So the value creation then becomes not just, can you use the AI? Can you use these tools? But are you really good at defining what you want the AI to do? What do you want your app to do? If you're talking about voice AI, what is that conversation? What's the feeling that somebody has to, that you want somebody to feel while they're dealing with your company, while they're engaging with your app um, or your service even? And the people that are able to define what success is, define what they want an AI to do and how they need it to change, those people are going to be the one that's the value difference, because we all have AI, we all have this super intelligent AI. Nobody's special with because AI is kind of democratized it all. So the only difference then is, what do you actually want to do with that AI, with that power? So that's why that question spoke to me, because if you can't understand, if you can't define things, you won't be able to use them.
Hey, this is a good segue to my special announcement that I haven't told anybody about. It's not really that special, but I guess it's pretty nerdy. So here's what I've done.
You're pregnant.
I
knew it.
I came across.
And all this time, I didn't think you were nerdy. All this time, I didn't think you were nerdy. It's weird.
I didn't know he was a systems guy.
Yeah, no, he knew. Snapshots. What?
The other day, I came across, not a couple of weeks, but I came across a video, Dan Martell talking about Obsidian. And yeah, shiny syndrome, you could say, but I dived into it, and I guess I went a little bit crazy. And here's what I've done. I'm going to share a screen, and then I'll explain a little bit more on this. So here's the thing. Can you guys see it?
No.
Pin it so that it's big. I can only see you.
I can see it as a thumbnail.
Oh, there we go.
Is that pinned now?
There we go. Yep.
Good. Okay, so
I think my 4-year-old did the same picture this morning.
So can you guess what this is?
It's your brain.
Is this all 100 episodes as a learning hub?
Yes. You stole my thunder. Yes.
Whoa!
I've been using Claude.
Wow.
And I got it to index every single episode, full transcript of every single episode, create relationships between guests, topics, strategies, all that. What's the purpose, you may ask? Aside from this looking really cool, is and I was hoping to have it ready for today. I just didn't end up on time, but I now have. This is like a brain. I've got it programmed every day to do like what happens to us when we actually sleep. When you wake up, your brain is a bit more fresh. It's what happens, like the neurons, they rewire. I've got Claude programmed to do the rewiring every day. It checks for any new potential connections because every week there's a new episode being added. So it just gets stronger. The connections get stronger, and I'm building a chat bot that will tap into this so that you guys who are fans of this podcast, who are trying to grow your high-level agency, you are looking for the blueprints, maybe it's lead gen, maybe it's, the quick to market. There's so many different angles here. You'll be able to talk to it. I can do it already. And I've used it even significantly for my prep. I'm doing things like I have a guest on prior to the interview. I run it and say, hey, I'm gonna have a guest on, and we're gonna be talking about these sort of topics. Can you surface up any past guests that I can mention that will relate? So I can now be more on point with referencing, similar topics in episodes. I can use it for better prepping, but I want to provide as a gift to the community with a tool that they can talk to, and it'll help you surface up like a distillation of that episode, or provide you a link so you can just go there and listen to the whole episode if you have time. That's what's coming up. So right now it's built. I've got a bit of a framework for
really
documentation on this, and just keep an eye out. Yeah.
So guys, this goes back to. Oh, good. Yeah. Sorry. Go for it.
I was just going to say what's crazy is when I have an argument with my wife, her brain works the exact same way. Have you copied it from her?
Remembers that time back in 1994, on a Saturday.
I didn't realize that she had Claude Cowork plugged into her brain. Right, got it.
So true. It's the elephant brain, right? It's the elephant brain. Nothing is ever forgotten. That's so funny, Day. I have so many inappropriate jokes, but I will spare the universe from them. But okay, so guys, this is really just to tie this back to what we were talking about earlier. What Vit has built is a virtual version of what we were talking about earlier. I have, I don't know, 15, 16 years of experience in this thing, multi-million dollars a year of take-home income, all this stuff. And I guarantee you, I'm the furthest planet from the sun on that. I'm the smallest dot. So those bigger dots near the center are people who have more gravity, probably more stuff to say, I would imagine, etc. from the transcripts. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of those dots, and Vit just gave you access to all of our minds, knowledge, insight. That's incredible, dude. So a virtual room, let's call it, of all these great minds collected in this hive mind of neurons firing. That's an incredible resource. It's very impressive. Massive. Yeah, it's massive, bro.
Well, look at where this all started with, I guess, selfishly as a marketer, I'm trying to get more people to listen to this podcast, right? And so I'm looking at how do I get people to listen the episodes that happen? Because there are people that I've interviewed that have people like you guys are here on this call and incredible wealth of knowledge and experience. And I don't want that to just get buried in the archive, and you guys listening as well. I wanted to press upon you, if you're looking for something, don't just listen to the fresh stuff, go back, because there's stuff that is evergreen, strategies that are evergreen. And I'm hoping that this tool will kind of help surface those up for everybody. And
I think that's to be able to query that, Vit, and to be able to have that level of connection. Guys, what an incredible resource. Hey, I'm just about to go into a meeting. What can I do about a demo? And all of those references come through. Hey, help me with a thing. That's such an incredible resource, Vit. And guys, if you're listening and watching, just send love and thanks to Vit for making that available to you, because you've literally just compacted decades worth of knowledge and learning into an instantly accessible FAQ based bot. Keep it, bookmark it, and use it, because Vit, that's incredible, man.
My hope is that this will also help surface more opportunities for because I'm looking at it from all the angles, right? Value, the podcast, my personal agenda, I guess you could say, which is to build friends with cool people and build potential collaborations and stuff, and things already happened, but also for the listeners and also for our sponsors, because it's a side project, but it needs to be funded somehow, so it's not out of pocket kind of thing. And so I'm looking at this as well as does this help provide more value to the sponsors? Does it help surface their offers? And I guess now would be a good segue to we're kind of at a halfway point. So I'm just going to play a little sponsored ad here that I prepared earlier as well, and then we'll continue with this awesome discussion. Here we go. Where is it? Did I delete it? Don't tell me. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Gary here from MyCRMSim. Quick question for you. What if you could get set up and start sending iMessage blue bubbles through HighLevel for less than $1 a day using your iPhone? Well, now you can. With MyCRMSim, it's fast, it's easy, it's ridiculously affordable to get set up, and you can be sending iMessages today. Check us out at mycrmsim.com and we'll show you how.
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. This is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLPT
I'm on it,
Creator
Ren.
Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools, an organization that I've been using to run support for my customers, as well as give me a ton of awesome epic add-ons that make running, launching, and differentiating my SaaS inside of HighLevel so much easier. Now that they're an official sponsor of the show, they've done something pretty bloody awesome. If you go to hlpt.com/experience, you can get one of their incredible tools absolutely for free. No purchase necessary, just for being a listener on the show. So head over to hlpt.com/experience, grab that free tool, and I promise you this is going to improve the conversion rates on your page. Check out all the other stuff that they offer and tell them that Pete sent you.
Running an agency is tough, especially when you're buried in tasks that pull you away from growth. That's where VA Hub Pro comes in. They're one of the few VA agencies I trust when it comes to helping me find quality talent for my business. From GHL integrations to Closeboard, account managers, and executive assistants, VA Hub Pro plugs into your business like an extension of your core team. Personally, I've been using them for 3 months and it's been transformational. My VAs are pros. They show up, know HighLevel like the back of their hand, and help me stay in my zone of genius. And just for the HighLevel Experience listeners, they're waiving the $297 onboarding fee. If you want to focus more on growing your agency, go to highlevelexperience.vahubpro.com and grab your slot before they're booked out. You know what's wild? There's a smarter way to grow your agency and help more local businesses without adding more stress. That's what HighLevel does. It's your all-in-one sales, marketing, automation, and AI system. No more duct taping tools together or paying for 20 different subscriptions that barely talk to each other. I've been using it for 5 years with my own white-level version, Stand Out from the Pack, helping Aussie businesses like Dimitri, a Canberra electrician, who now runs his jobs, quotes, calls, and follow-ups with our built-in AI employee. If you're an agency, HighLevel lets you do exactly that. Support your clients in new ways while building stable, recurring revenue every month. And if you're a local business, partner up with somebody who knows your market and your industry. If you're in Tasmania, my mate Jared from Boulder Digital, for example, has you covered. If you're in Canberra, that's my turf. Check out standoutfromthepack.com.au and we'll get you sorted. The point is, there's probably a high-level agency or SaaSpreneur near you. We're seasoned marketers, tech-savvy super nerds who love helping local businesses grow. We're global, we're connected, we're high-levelers. Now, I've got something really special for you guys. I've negotiated an exclusive 30-day HighLevel trial that's double the usual just for you. Sign up your agency through gohighlevel.com/vet or upgrade your existing plan, and I'll hook you up with over $3,200 worth of bonuses, resources, templates, and snapshots I normally give to my private clients only. So whether you're scaling an agency or leveling up your business, start with the right system. gohighlevel.com/vet or team up with your local SaaSpreneur and let's make business simple again. One platform, one login, no duct tape, just results.
Love it. Oh,
you muted
Vit's
Vit.
Muted. Vit's muted. It's our chance, boys. It's our chance. We get a chance right now.
Yeah, that's there you go. Yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to say again, yeah, just thank you to all our sponsors, HL Pro Tools, VA Hub Pro, my CRM sim for making the show possible, guys. That means a lot to me. We're back to regular programming. What are we talking about next?
Can I and I want to answer Danny's question.
Get in there.
I actually don't know what I'd love to know the motivation there, but he was like, what, simplify, how would you define business? The question that you had there was like, looking back, it was now 2 years ago, I think, when I was on the podcast, and the question you had here was, what's a different belief? And I think it kind of maybe goes along with Danny's question there, which for me, I don't know if there's a ton of answers, but it's monetized problem solving. It's business. And I think a change or maturing in belief there is, since a couple of years ago and being in business, is you don't have to only solve one problem. It's solving a lot of problems for the same customer. And so here's some problems that I think great businesses solve for us as a consumer you may not realize. So one is loneliness. The other is entertainment. The other is education. Right. And we see like this is the content side of the business where you're like, oh, that's monetized problem solving. You might be thinking like, well, the problem that they solve is, you know, whatever, some tech little widget there. But it's like, no, in this moment, thanks to YouTube or whatever the platform is, like, I am monetizing solving the problem of boredom, solving the problem of like a desire for suspended reality, whatever, solving the problem of feeling disconnected, that loneliness there. And so I think that's one change of maturing in belief is, you know, to tie back to Danny's question, for me, monetize problem solving. But as a business owner, if you know who you're solving problems for, it matters less about only solving one problem. Like you're gonna have a core problem, that's what you're known for, but you might be surprised on how many ways you can monetize solving problems for the same person. And that's the obvious answer in my mind is through content.
I think adding into, sorry, Viet, you go. Oh, well, I was going to say, I look at it a little bit, the wording a little bit differently. I think selling is helping. And it's interesting when I first started like getting into business, I was like, I just want to create the biggest impact in the world and really help people on like the deepest level possible. And so naturally for me, I thought that was like, right, that's NLP, that's coaching, that's life coaching, that's solving big, deep problems for people and coming out the other end. And naturally, then I was going through all of that stuff. I remember having a nose operation. I'm watching Tony Robbins, where he just had his Netflix episode come out. And I'm like, this is me. This is what I'm about. This is what I want to do. Big level, help people, not the big stage, but helping make impact like I felt he was. And it was interesting because you go through that process and you think that because you feel so big about you feel that because you're trying to help, you need to do the biggest impact that you think is possible. But actually what you're already doing or the skills that you already have is enough to actually make that big impact. And what I found by doing that is I remember Johan, because I went from coaching, trying to coach directly with people on big problems to then sales coaching, right? And so sales coaching was working well. But the problem with teaching people sales is the people that come to you looking for help with sales is they naturally think they're already good at sales. And so you're kind of pushing shit against the wall because these people are like, well, I just came along to see if there was anything new, but I don't need any help. I'm already really good at sales. And so I felt like I was kind of hitting a wall there. And I remember one time, it was over Christmas, over the break, Johan gave me a call. He's like, yo, I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, you do the sales coaching? I'm like, yeah. He's like, but your background's marketing. I went, yeah. He goes, so why aren't you doing that? He's like, I'm going to go, see you around. And I was like, what the hell just happened? Right. And I then sat there for 2 weeks and literally that just became a track in my mind. Why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that? And it then dawned on me that, wow, like I'm doing this marketing automation side of things and I already know this stuff and I already do it well. And it actually is helping people because these people are like, wow, you helped me achieve this. Wow, you helped me solve this. And I think that when you find your why, you've probably already got it in you and you don't have to change who you are to do that. You just need to have something that motivates you enough to do it. And I don't think that comes down to money because I think that you do good things and you put good things out into the universe and then good things come back. And that should be a natural result of money. So I think that you need to have that deeper meaning as to, well, what's the thing that lights me up where there'll be tough times and I can actually get through those tough times because I'm so driven on my mission to be able to give this value.
I love that, Jared. I have a bit of a spin, if I may, on that for my own personal situation. So I struggle with the exact same thing. Like I was very good at Facebook ads for a while there. I did not particularly like being a media buyer, Facebook ad specialist. I fell into database reactivation because and lead nurturing because I recognized a gap, right? And I'm not particularly passionate about that either. I don't know if like I've talked about this a whole lot, but you know, the mechanism is just a great mechanism, right? So for those who don't know, if you're running ads for a client, let's say, and they're not filling the gap between the sales opportunity and when the lead is generated, that's a massive gap. It's something that almost nobody still talks about. So the way that I found that out was one of my best clients who was killing it with sales. They were getting the best ROI on my ads by a mile. I was like, dude, what are you doing differently than all my other clients? And so he's like, well, come on in. He was the manager at the gym down the street from my office. And I went in there. This guy ended up being my business partner. We helped 535 locations with this. But so Haplin, who now works for HighLevel as well, was sitting there manually text messaging people to nurture them to get them through the door to the gym. And then my future business partner, Ryan, was the sales manager, and he was closing them. He was killing it. He's like, dude, someone gets in the door, I can sell them, man. And I'll help them too. You know, like, you're one of the best salesperson I've ever seen, ethics wise, etc. So then we ended up replicating a system for that. Still to this day, it's not my passion to teach database reactivation. In fact, I'm quite tired of it. And there's a lot of that in business. You have to do things until you're blue in the face, and that's just a part of it, right? Keep solving the problem, keep improving the system that gets the client the result. But I didn't really know what my passion was. I just want to say this because I think it's important. Jared might be passionate about marketing. I don't know. He might be really good at he might be better at sales, but very passionate about marketing. That's okay, right? For me, my passion was helping people on a bigger level. And I found that whenever I tried to do that and get too broad, it just didn't work for a lot of different reasons, right? And get bigger and broader, right? So, I don't want to be Tony Robbins either. It gives me tremendous anxiety to even think about trying to put that amount of people in a room and having the responsibility of changing their life within a few sentences. That's not me, okay? But what building this system and helping so many people find success with, so many business owners and agencies with, is now I have the funds to go and help people with what is my passion, which is largely, it's very specific. It's largely helping mostly U.S. veterans get the healing care that they need that the government does not provide once they get home from war. So as far back as my family tree goes that I know of, they've all been veterans in the United States. And prior to that, railroad workers, from off the ship to railroads to working for our federal government as a soldier, okay? So I just want to make the point that it doesn't always have to be like your business solves every problem in the universe. In fact, I think that a sweet spot for most people is a take home of about $1 to $3 million a year, where you still have a great lifestyle and you're able to impact the world very directly. That's my personal take on it. I'm not saying that has to be that way for any of you, but I've just found that most people are happiest when they have that. Like Michael's sitting on vacation. I am too. The beach, not the beach, but the bay is right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I just got done spending 2.5 weeks in San Diego with my family, and the kids just flew home this morning, and now I have time to see friends and work a little bit. That's my dream life. It fills my cup, and I'm able to sponsor these vets to go get the help they need that our government does not provide. To me, I've made it, guys. That's a freaking dream life to me. And the point in this whole thing is that it's going to look different for Jared as it is for everybody else, as it is for me, and it is for you. And the answer might not become apparent right away. But I can tell you this, if I was still stuck in a 9-to-5 job, I would not be able to anonymously and personally make the impact that I have in business or outside of business, helping the vets, if I didn't have this vehicle to get me there. It would just be impossible. Literally impossible. And so I think it's important to recognize whatever path you're creating for yourself and you're striving for, it does not have to look like anybody else's. So learn from Jared's stuff, learn from all of ours, and you might not know the answer right away. That's okay, right? Like, I'm sure that Walt, when he was, building and selling software companies, I'm positive of this. If you asked him, did you ever dream that, after your kids were grown, that you'd be back working for like a company like HighLevel? I don't think he would know that or have even probably thought of it a few years ago. That would be my guess. But it's the right fit for him at the right moment, at the right time. And probably he wouldn't have had the luxury of making that choice and that decision if he hadn't done all the things prior to this to get him to where he is, right? So it's like a tricky thing. I just think it's bad advice when people look at someone like Alex Hormozy or Russell Brunson or Elon Musk and they go, "Oh, well, rich people, have this dream." It's like, no, dude, that's their life. It's not yours, right? And those people make sacrifices that would never align with yours if you really sat down and thought about it. There literally is no right answer, right? Unless it's your right answer. And so a lot of this is I love the choose your own adventure book analogy. If you guys have never bought, they're like children's books. I read them to my kids at night, and they're very nostalgic. They've been around since. I'm a dinosaur, so that tells you how long. Um, but these books are great because at the end of like every few pages, it says, if you want to make this decision, go to this page, and if you want to make another decision, jump to this page. So there's literally like, I don't know how many hundreds of outcomes that you can have journeying through these pages, and you can go back and go, well, how would that journey have been if I'd made a different choice on this page? And that's a little bit how you have to think about this thing when you're building your business. Like to me, you have to build it around what you want first. Like Matt DeSanto is an absolute juggernaut. Matt, how many employees do you have now? I think it's like hundreds. Again, that sounds like a nightmare to me personally. I'd rather run a solo business. I have one VA now. I love the employees that I've ever had. I hope they would say they had a good experience working with me. I think I did a pretty good job, not a perfect job, but a pretty good job serving them to go out in the world and do good things. But I figured out through the journey that I just don't like managing a big team or team period if I can help it. Right. I figured that out about me. And the natural result of that is that I can help more people, show up for myself and my family more, show up for the strangers that I help more. So you have to really be careful about the decisions you make and ask yourself, am I making this decision for others? Right? Like I imagine that at some point Jared got influenced by something he saw, right? And then he got that call from Johan, and Johan was saying, was saying, bro, I'm seeing a little bit different thing of you. That's a great friend right there, by the way. A fantastic friend.
Incredible friend.
Yes. An amazing person to have to just call you and drop. I mean, it takes balls to do that, first of all. But he probably knows you so well and loves you so much. He's like, dude, I'm just seeing that you're banging your head against the wall unnecessarily. Come on, man, get on the truck. Your truck. Jared's truck, not mine. Right? So like, I don't know. It's easy to take a soundbite and take it all the way to the house and then, stop to go, wait, time out, which is what Johan did. He called and said, hey, just take a time out. Think about this. Let it stew for a minute. Obviously, it's your life. You can do what you want, but, right? So, it's very easy to look at people above you and think, I want everything that person wants. It's very difficult to sit down and turn inward and go, but like, what's going to be best for me so that I can serve more people and help more, right?
If I can jump in on that, Rob, just talking about impact and what you want and how everybody looks different. Like if anybody doesn't know my story, and I know some of you do, um, in 2023, my family and I made the sacrifice to give up our home and pack everything in storage and hit the road in an RV because that was the dream for us. And we did that for a little while and we moved back into a house in end of 2024. Well, I'm on the road again right now. We just packed up our other house. We moved into a house. We just packed it up again because we were like, you know what? This isn't for us. This is not the life that we want to live. My kids are homeschooled. I'm blessed to be self-employed and work for myself and have the freedom to live life the way that we want to live. And we went back to a home. We lived there for about a year and a half, and just the family was bored every day. Dad was working, and it was just like Groundhog Day, and time was just passing by. Our kids are only young for so long, and we had such an incredible experience the first time around that we're like, what are we doing? What are we doing with our lives right now? Why are we sitting in this house when what we really all want is to be on the road? So we're back on the road. We literally just packed up through June, moved out of our home July 1st, and we're in the RV. We're heading back to the US. We're doing another road trip. We're making our way to Dallas. We'll be there for the Level Up Summit, and we're just gonna have a blast along the way. And like we moved out. I'll just give you an example, guys, as far as like this dream life. We moved out of this 3-story, 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom home that we absolutely loved living in. And now we're in a 32-foot Class C motorhome driving across the country with my wife and my kids following behind me in a minivan. And like it's 4 of us. We've got myself and my wife. I've got a 6-year-old daughter who's about to turn 7. I've got a 9-year-old son. The 4 of us in this tiny little RV. It is not for the faint of heart, but it is, even on the hardest days, it is not something that we would ever want to give up. Like we just love this life. And it's not for everybody, right? This is our dream. This is what we want to do. But with this and with the decisions that we've made, and what you were saying, Rob, about making the choices, like, are you living for somebody else? Are you making these choices for somebody else? Or are you deciding for yourself? It's hard, especially when it comes to family and friends and being away. But if we made those choices for other people, we wouldn't get to live the life that we want, and we would always look back and regret it. Always. So we've made the hard decisions. We've done the sacrifices, right? We're away from friends. We're away from family. We try to come back, and be there for Christmas and things like that. But this is the life that we want to live, and we get to go. I mean, the things that we did, like on our first trip, one of the things we wanted to do was my son loves Spider-Man. And I think Gary, you and I talked about this. And at 5 years old, my son decided, he's like, I have to. This is on my bucket list. He's got a bucket list at 5. I have to go to New York City, where Spider-Man is from, and I have to dress up like Spider-Man. And on that first road trip, we made it happen, because if we didn't do it then, maybe he's going to outgrow it, right? Maybe he's going to change his mind. That's not what he's into anymore. We made it happen. So we took him. We made the trek. My wife figured out the route so that we could be home by Christmas, get to New York, and we took him to New York, and he dressed up like Spider-Man, and he walked around Manhattan all day long like Spider-Man. And we actually even had a photographer who took a couple pictures of him in Times Square. And then we did a little mini photo shoot. And so now we have professional photos of my son, dressed up like Spider-Man at Times Square. And it's incredible. And that is not an opportunity that we would have had if we didn't make that decision to pack everything up and to go. And even going further back, all of the decisions, the hard choices that we made that led us here. Years ago, really long story short, years ago, my wife and I decided to sell our home. And luckily, it had appreciated, and we were able to take some of that money from the sale of the home to invest into me, to invest into programs, to invest into learning and growing a business. And had we not made that decision, life would be very different. So all the hard decisions all along the way have led us to where we are now. And I mean, you just got to go for it. Whatever lights you up, whatever makes you happy, whatever your dream is, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. I'm with you guys. Filling up a room with people and getting up on stage, not my thing. I am an extreme introvert. I get drained. I don't think I could ever do that. That's not for me. I find other ways to make an impact, and we try to make an impact every day in what we do, not only for ourselves, for others as well, but for sure for my family, for my kids, giving them an experience that they would never have anywhere else. So,
2 things I'm taking out of this, Joel. One, this is an awesome lifestyle. Like, I love adventure, right? And what I'm hearing is, as a message for everybody. It's like you want to have this lifestyle. It doesn't have to be something that, once you get there, then you can have this whole lifestyle. Like, no, like, why not have it now and just work around it? That's one. So you've got this wish, you've got this ideal lifestyle you want to. The second, I don't know, for some reason, like in my it popped in my head, is this organization, Make-A-Wish. It's like, why is it that people on a deathbed, ask for this dream that they always wanted to accomplish, and it has to happen at the end of their life? Like, let's just make it happen now. Life's too short.
It's funny. It's
just one more thing. Sorry, just one more thing. With what you said with living in an RV, you remind me, my old podcast, guys, Success Inspired, was all about like having interviews with like business. But for some reason, I started get these bookings, this booking agent for her clients, and they were all like families doing what you do. I just happened to like literally interview like 7 different families. There is all their episodes, but if you're interested, go there. There's one that they literally Australian family. They had a house down in Adelaide, sold it, flew to Puerto Rico, bought a boat. They live on a boat and they just sail with kids. It's unreal. So it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's just like it's about trade-offs, right? Like, if you're trading time for money and you're happy with that, that's fantastic, right? Like Michael mentioned that earlier. Some people are very content with that. But if you're not, you have to be intentional about the way you design your life and build your business around it, not the other way around. Otherwise, it's just too easy to, grow this thing that you never wanted in the first place. And then, like, I'll tell you an example, right? Like, I would say around the time of COVID, like, so the years surrounding COVID, you saw so many internet gurus who built this giant business, and most of them burned to the ground. I'm talking about like somewhere below Tony Robbins and above maybe, the people that you see on stage at HighLevel, right? Or there, or around there. And they burned it to the ground because there was zero alignment with their lifestyle, right? They always had to be on or be someone else that they weren't, right? So, like, a lot of you guys have built businesses that I would never want for myself, but I respect the hell out of it. And if that makes you happy, I'm like the happiest dude. I'll be, I'm happy to promote you and buy you beer and all that stuff. It's like that's awesome, right? But the trap that I see a lot of people fall into is they think they want something just because they saw it and it looks cool, but they haven't thought about what that means to them or what they have to sacrifice to get it, right? So that, like, I don't know, again, just for the viewers, like, I've had the privilege of helping HighLevel launch out of beta. So I was there at the very beginning. I was in like literally the tiny Facebook group that Robin created. He said, "Hey, I'm testing a new tool. I want you to be on the beta." And I actually wanted to be a co-founder with HighLevel. And he's like, "Well, we already have 3, but you can be our first affiliate. And, we'll make sure you get taken care of on the back end if this gets to where we think it'll go." So I really stuck my neck out there for the whole first year. It was really tough. Like, I wanted to quit several times, I'm not gonna lie. And Sean, to his credit, would call me and just be like, that guy, like, "Hey dude, I don't think you see the full vision. Like, you're crushing it. No one else is putting butts in seats and, adding first users like you are." And he painted this picture. And at the time I was very like hesitant because I'd been burned so many times by so many other software companies, right? Like, I would send them tons of customers. They would just like build it up and sell out through VCs or whatever. And they'd just send an email and be like, "All your affiliate commissions are gone in 30 days. Like, I got that email probably 10 times before HighLevel, right? And I'm like, I'm just sick of this, dude. He's like, "But we're different, and they are, and they were, and they are, right?" But at the time I was very, very hesitant to do that. And the reason was not because of as much as self-limiting belief as the behavior of so many other companies that looked just like them, right? And so I made a shift from betting on companies to betting on people. right? So I was like, well, instead of saying, hey, I just want to extract as much as I can, like from this software company by sending them users and receiving a commission, you know, I can build a lifestyle vision, which again is to Sean's credit. He painted this picture for me before I even saw it. But he's like, you can have the life you want and make your own schedule, and I think you'll be much happier. Like, if this thing goes as far as we think it'll go, I don't think you're going to be happy being in a corporate environment, are you? I'm like, absolutely not. Right. So, like, today, I'm happy I'm not a co-founder. I'm happy I'm not an employee. Like, this is the perfect fit for me. Right. But the thing at the time was just like, I don't think I would be here talking to you guys if the alignment wasn't there for myself personally. Right. And since then, I've been able to serve way more people than I ever dreamed of. Like 40,000 people, I think I've trained in the past 8 years on the HighLevel platform. It's been a privilege and an honor. I never would have been able to do that, but it had to be the perfect fit for me to be able to have that opportunity. So, like, the alignment is a really important thing. Matt DeSano totally loves this stuff. Like, he is an animal. He wakes up, I think he like sleeps on the treadmill thinking about training people and talking to his employees and stuff and doing events and all the crazy things he does. I don't. I'm like, I want to sleep and get some damn rest and go to the beach and live a good lifestyle. I'll also create some systems that help a ton of people. And that's like my lane. So I think it's like, the self-awareness to constantly be sitting down and figuring that out is like massively important for everyone, each person.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so true. And the thing is, it changes as well. I didn't realize, Joel, that you was traveling around America. So it reminds me. So 2017 to 2018, me and my family, when the kids were younger, we went traveling around the world for a year. And we didn't do an RV. We did Airbnbs. And we lived that lifestyle. But that all started years before. So when my wife and I was on honeymoon, so we went skiing in Majiv. We got married in the March, and it was too far to go away for a warm holiday. So we went on a holiday. We went skiing instead. And I remember being sat in the hot tub, and in the hot tub was like, what lifestyle, would we love to lead? And we said, wouldn't it be great if we could ski in the winter and surf in the summer? And that was this simple idea that built everything, which we built a coaching business to 130,000 plus customers, 76 countries around the world. We had paying customers at one point. All these really fun, amazing things that we did, but it just came back to that simple idea. Wouldn't it be cool if? Now, the funny thing is that traveling lifestyle that we had, I couldn't think of anything worse now. Like, I have zero interest in doing it right now. My kids are older, and instead, I love nothing more than taking my kids to school and picking them up. I love nothing more than being a coach to my son's soccer team. And, my son in particular, there's a lot of football. He's just got into a football academy. They're playing Liverpool FC, in a couple of weeks' time. He's doing really well. Well, that takes me all over the country, supporting him. That's where I'd want to be, with supporting the kids on those sort of things. So it kind of brings me back to, well, how do you figure out what the priorities are? And there's that old story. I'm sure everybody's heard this, but it's always nice to rehear it, I think. And it's that old idea of the rocks, pebbles, and sand in the mayonnaise jar. We've all heard that one where we put the rocks in. Is it full? No. Put the pebbles. Oh no, there's people say yes, and no, actually we put some pebbles in, find some more space. Put some sand in, we find some more space. And it was an old mentor of mine that really got me thinking that, because the first things that they booked in, because they used to look ahead for the next year, the first two things they always booked in was their summer holiday and their winter holiday. And I used to book in what appointments I had on Monday. That was how I used to think of things. And it's sad because I've been fortunate and blessed to coach a lot of people now. And so we have a coaching program called Freedom by Design. So similar to what Michael was saying, we help people design systems, right? That's our thing that we do now. And so talking about that, we talk a lot about work, but we talk a lot about non-work things. 90% plus of people that we speak to don't have anything to do outside of work. And that's why they work so hard. And that's why they spend so much time doing work-based activities. And I think the reality is a lot of people, as demonstrated on this call, get into this type of business for the work-life balance. And they got the work bit right, but they've never actually figured out the life bit. And the funny thing is, the more you figure out the life bit, the easier it is to do the work bit, because all of a sudden you've got a reason to do it, right? If you know you've got to finish at 4 o'clock because you've got to do something fun, well, I bet you're going to be finished by 4 o'clock, right? Rather than if you don't, right? It can kind of drag into the evening or whatever. If you know you've got to make 20 grand because I want to get a new sports car because that's my thing, I guarantee you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to call that client because you need to make that extra 2 or 3 sales to get that 20 grand. So the one thing that I would always really try to reinforce to those of you guys who are watching this live is work is, of course, important. And it's so easy to say life's important, focus on life, but it's the detail that becomes important, you know, and it's not just, oh, I'd like that, or I've seen this person. It's really getting to know yourself, you know, and it's what actually lights me up. You know, I'm a big believer in you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. You know, if you can't pour from an empty cup, and you've got to figure out what makes you happy, because if you can do that, you can carry on. You've got sustained energy. And that's really what this gig is. It's being able to do this every day, every week, every month, every decade. And you've got to have something that makes it worthwhile. So whether it's beach lifestyle like Rob was saying, whether it's getting in an RV like Joel was saying, whether it's, you know, lobster like I was saying, like find your thing. And not only does it make business easier, but if you've got a personal brand, which most of us have these days, it's a really great story to tell, because then people buy from people, right? And the more that they buy in to you, typically they're normally buying more from you as well.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Danny. Hey, I want to take the opportunity. I'm just being mindful of the time, and I love these discussions. This is, you know, what's awesome about these roundtables. This is the third one now that we're done. Just wanted to let you guys know what's coming up next. So we've done the 100. I'm not a fan of monotony. I'm looking how to spice it up a little bit. How to add I'm going to be playing around with the formats a little bit. So here's what I've got on the cards, and this is a message to you guys listening as well. One, we're going to start doing some co-hosting opportunities. So I already have a couple of people that I mentioned this. I haven't had a chance to mention it to all of you here on the call, but Jared knows about it. He's already put his hand up. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to be selecting a few people that I know that, you know, they can add value, and that's all of you here, which is why I've picked you already. I just haven't told you about it except for Jared. Is if you're up for it, I'll put you on a short list, and then whenever you are ready, whenever you want, I'll just email you. You can jump on to like a mini roundtable. It'll be for up to 2 additional co-hosts, I think 2 to 4. So I might have a guest like that I would normally interview, and that will still be happening like a one-to-one interview style. But I also want to do these mini roundtables, you know, like Joe Rogan does it. He brings his comedy guys, mates, and they just banter, they hang around, and they talk about something. That's the model there. So about 20 people on the short list. I'll just email out like, hey, on that day, I'm looking to do more like a roundtable one, like a mini one, little discussion style, yay or nay. It'll be a triggering in a true high-level fashion. I'm going to keep it simple. You just click yay, and then that is basically you're in. And then, you know, it'll be limited, but no commitment, no obligation. You know, it's, you know, I got, you know, but yeah, if you guys are up for it, yay or nay.
As long
I
as
think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, totally.
We're
especially rapid fire stuff, man. If you want me for a comedy or rapid fire, I'm in. Yeah.
I want this. I want like people talking over each other, have a debate, have controversial topics, disagreements, all that good stuff. Let's get into
bring
that.
Michael in if you want the
I was going
disagreement.
to say Pachito's in the house. Like,
yeah.
Hey guys, come on now. How about Snapshot Wars? Bring it back?
Mate, Pacito, I've had higher expectations of you today. You haven't jumped in yet.
He's been firing in the chat though, brother. Like everything. It's all been chat based for Michael.
So that's one, co-hosting, just to pepper in the episode, so a bit of a mix-up, and then also I'm gonna put myself on the line here a little bit, and I think I need it because it's easy to get comfortable. I'm gonna do some solo episodes and just do like a share, like a diary of what's happening in my own SaaS business. It'll be specific to podcasts. We have to keep it on the theme. It's for high level. This personal development. It's part of business, right? But I think also like just like the nuts and bolts of it, sharing the nuts and bolts of it of a day to day, like what's happened in a week, what I've been trying to work on, what didn't work, what were the fuck ups that didn't work, and what worked really well. And I'll share what I can share and what I feel like I want to share. And it's not going to be structured. I'm not going to commit to do a weekly thing or anything like that, but there's going to be those. And so just keep an eye on it and see what happens. I've never done. I don't even know. Like, I don't even like fathom how is it going to work. Just that's the beauty of having somebody else that you go back and forth. So it'll be interesting. See what happens. But keep an eye out. I've got a whole bunch of projects that I'm working on, and I think what's cool about it is that if I share that, maybe it's more like even for my own self, like because we don't do that. Sometimes we just do the grind day in, day out. Comes Friday, switch the computer off, crack the beer open, and you don't even know what you've done in that week because you've just been so busy doing everything. And so I think it'll be good for me to just look back and then, obviously provide value by sharing it, and hopefully it's good for everybody. So that's two things that we're doing. Going forward. Now, I wanted to do some live call-ins from the audience. I don't think I've done it right. I think something happened at the beginning, and so for some reason, I'm not seeing the Riverside audience here. So if you guys are listening, I wanted to apologize for that, because there was this awesome feature that here on Riverside you could call in. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately, today, but we can answer any questions if there were any. I didn't see any in the public. It was more of a shout out here. But if you guys have you guys noticed any question that we should? Yeah.
Well, the public chat, we've been crushing it. Mainly Michael's been crushing it and making sure everyone's up to date. But I think it would be a great opportunity to actually, with this podcast, put some questions back to you, because you've always been in the hot seat asking all the good questions and opening people up. And so I think it'd be awesome if some of us could actually ask you some questions. So straight off the cuff, I've got one for you. What was the most awkward podcast you ever created with someone?
Like an most awkward interview?
Yep.
If you say my name again,
I was going to say Jared. Just say Jared.
Like how I did that so softly. I was like, no, I won't go with the soft question. We'll just go with something hard right from the start.
Look, Danny just left, I think, so maybe he's the culprit. He's like, I'm out.
Danny's just exiting. He's like, I can't stick around for this. So it's like,
or an awkward moment even.
Jesus, missing your own podcast. You're missing the start of your 100th episode podcast, maybe.
Oh, that was yeah.
Cheeto for the win. Come on.
There was one that that I had a guest on, and it turned into like a solo episode. Like he just kept talking and talking and talking and talking, and he wouldn't have pauses between. I couldn't even like. It was earlier on. It was the other podcast. It was an interesting fella, but you live and learn, right?
I didn't know you knew Michael that long.
We go way back, man. Way back.
Yeah, hard to pinpoint. I think more awkward for me personally, it was maybe lack of preparedness. That was those when, you know, I was, you know, had a shitty week. I was under the pump. I had this booked, and it became that day. It was like an afterthought. I was just gonna get on with it, and I wasn't present. It was, I then you judge yourself like, oh, this is shit. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? So that was those.
With a name like Vit Muller, I'm curious what your favorite yogurt is.
Yeah,
that's a UK joke. Nobody else will get that, Danny, my guy. Like you gotta get down to Tesco and get yourself a tub full of Muller.
That's a branded yogurt for everyone who doesn't know.
Right, it's got the chocolate tip-ins. It's very good. Hey guys, I've got to jump. I'm so sorry. I know that we're a couple of hours in, but what we missed at the beginning was a really big shout out to Vit. And for those of you who are stuck with this recording or watching the live stream, as we all jumped on, and I think Rob, you were leading the charge. Like we just were giving you a shout out, Vit, and I just want to do that before I jump out. I'm sorry, I have to head off to a next call. But getting to 100 episodes is insane. Right, getting like most people get 5, 10, 15 in the can and unable to carry that through. You've done something that's delivered to the high level community every single time. I've seen the audience growing, and I know that you've done this as a labor of love. As you said, it's not your main gig. It's a way that you've been able to deliver a service. And so from a high level perspective, I want to say thank you. I know that you got a shout out there from Sean and from Paulson and Kelsey and all the rest of the team as well. But, if I can take that wider from the community perspective, this is something that's provided value to so many people. And, again, I just want to say thanks, Vit. And I know that there's a lot that goes behind this. Well done, mate. You've done incredibly work, and we are eternally grateful for it.
Thank you, Walt. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's about 800 hours, roughly. So sometimes I wonder, Jesus, if I put that into sales, what would that look like?
Good night, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. There's more beyond the surface than it seems with podcasts, right? It's, at this point, I have friends all around the world now that you get to know on a deeper level because you get the chance to speak to somebody for like a bloody hour, 2 hours solid, right? So, we have invitations to go and have a free accommodation in multiple places around the world, and all people who have audience, and you have an audience, and you've got a product or service that complements that audience. So then that's like opportunity to do like a co-hosting webinars, but those things don't happen unless you have an opportunity to build a rapport and build a bit of a relationship first. I know, like me and Rob, we've done a couple of things, and he's been, you've helped me out with, get in front of your audience, and so podcasting is awesome. It's a lot of work, and if you are listening and if you tried podcasting, you're looking at doing the podcasting, be prepared. You'll have days where it's like you're ready to quit, but there's what do they say? There's net, like your net, your wealth is in your network, something like that. I'm not saying it right.
Is your network.
That's it. You got it. Yes. And so I can go back to a lot of people. I mean, I've asked you guys and then you jumped on. So I think that's something to say about that. So it's I really appreciate it, and that means a lot to me.
Not much else going on, so it was easy. No, I'm just kidding, dude. Vit, you're the only person that I would ever trust blindly with making snapshots. You're a detail-oriented dude who's passionate and does things full send. And dude, that's why you're able to make it to 100 and no one else can, because everyone else is quitting at 10.
Well, you've been busy as well.
Yep, in the chat here. Yeah, for sure.
No, I know we're at the end, and I know everybody's gonna go, so I think maybe not opening up that conversation. But I know, like, what you've showed me, you are somebody that is like really focused. Just want to give you a shout out as well. Like, you're really focused. This is like this topic of documentation snapshots is like it's like boring as hell, but also really important. And what you're doing and what I've seen you do and the way it evolves, and now with the whole ability to index every single asset in GHL and on the back of what Fair's developed and all that stuff. I haven't spoken to you about that stuff. It's been like 3 months, so I'm sure you've evolved further, but it's very impressive. Very impressive.
Documentation's boring, and then because a boring business is way more fun. Putting out fires every day could be exciting, but I don't know if that's, what documentation makes things boring for sure, but in a real good way. So, but yeah,
Well,
dude,
it's about responsibility, right? We have a lot of responsibility as high-level agencies that we sell these sub-accounts to businesses that have employees and have stakeholders and families to feed, and they rely on the account and on the platform to work. And then if we provide a service to them, it's about being responsible. Like,
now, why are you
okay,
bringing that topic up at the end? Now that's
I
the
don't know.
spicy topic that we could go
Is
into.
it? Yeah.
There we go.
I don't know how everybody's on time. Like, it's 1 o'clock here. If you guys gotta go, we can wrap it up. And it's been an awesome 2 hours, and we can leave it for a proper interview next time.
I got one more question for you, Vit.
Yeah, mate.
All right, one more question for you.
Oh, here we go.
What actually got you started with doing the High Level Experience podcast? Because as you said, you had a prior podcast that you were running. And so I'm curious to get everyone across this. What actually helped you to go, I want to start doing a podcast on High Level, and then go crazy and do 100 episodes?
I want to make more friends. I want to be friends with the top dogs. And what a better way to do it than podcasting? And then that's the most leveraged. It's the most it's a heavy labor, like takes a lot of hours, but I still think podcasting is awesome, like leveraged activity. And now with this brain that I've built, I think that's a whole, that could even be monetized potentially, So, there's so many different angles of this. Yeah, but I guess
I've done 4 episodes, 4 out of 100. That's 4%. So when you monetize it, do I get 4% royalties? Is that how it works?
English is my second language. Sorry, I don't speak. Thanks, Danny. Danny's had to go. Yeah. Yeah, guys. Unless you wanted to say anything more, I think we can otherwise wrap it up. Michael, did you want to?
I just want to say thank you, Vit, for having us. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with everybody. And I don't even know how many people I've sent to you that said, these people come to me and say, hey, I want to start a podcast. I said, you need to talk to Vit because he's got it totally wired. And I don't know. I don't even know how many, but the bottom line is I've never seen such a well-organized machine. I can't even believe you put 8 hours in because you have everything automated. It's really crazy. Even before, after, during, everything. To see what the machine that you've built around just this podcast, and I don't mean just this podcast. I mean, it's a heck of an endeavor for sure, and you've mastered it like nobody I've ever seen, honestly.
I want to go off the back of that too, mate, because the people that have been on your podcast see all this, and they see everything that's being automated and going out, all the social content and things that you're preparing for us to then be able to upload. And no one's got any clue that this is going on apart from us that are actually part of the podcast, and we just rock up. We're like celebrities at times, it feels, because, you're asking us to jump in, and all of a sudden things are just happening. It's like, cool, here's this link, jump in here, here's some creatives, post them online, here's something to post, and it's just unreal because no one has, or apart from us, but no one else would have a clue how much is happening there and how much work has actually gone into being able to deliver it as smooth as what Michael's saying.
R&D too. The guy's like R&D crazy with it. It's really good. You've outdone it. I got to tell you.
Maybe one day I'll package it up and sell it as a system. Who knows?
Mate, you already have. You helped me when we were launching our podcast. You helped me. You were the one person that I turned to and said, hey, how do you do all this? And then you gave me some great advice. So I just want to say thank you again for everything that you've done. Just reiterate what everyone else has said and just say thank you, mate. But you really helped me. I am going to have to bounce out as well because I actually have to get ready for a webinar that I'm going to be doing shortly as well. But mate, thank you. appreciate everything you've done, and you made it all so easy for all of us as well today, mate. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, what a perfect way to wrap it up. Thank you so much. This has been awesome 2 hours. Thank you so much for everybody watching, listening. This has been, I think, a great celebration for the 100, and appreciate you all. If you're fans of this podcast, if you're enjoying it, then if you could do me a favor and subscribe to YouTube, Facebook, all those things. But more importantly, if you know anybody in your corner that's struggling with HighLevel or looking to start HighLevel, has got an agency, please share an episode with them that would be relevant, because that's the whole point of this, is a resource. There's 150 hours of, it's like consulting really. And once I've got that AI thing ready, then you'll have a consultant you can tap into for free and use these resources, guys. It means a lot to me. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, once again, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna go sleep, and onwards and upwards for the next 100, I guess, in a more community style format. That's the contribution based. That's what I'm looking forward to. All right, that's it. Play a music. I'm gonna play a cool little music here for like an exit music, and here we go. There's boom. Let's see what that does. Oh, Matt DeSanto's joining us. Hang on.
It actually works with Matt's foot movements, doesn't it?
Matt, welcome back, mate. You're joining in for an exit. We're wrapping it up.
Episode 101 starting right now. Let's go.
But hang on. Did you jump back just to? Did you have something? Did you want to say something or?
Nothing special. I said I'd come back, and I had no idea what the timing was. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Let's dance off into the universe and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Good times.